Here is a bit of wisdom from your Uncle Cooper. Tires exist on a spectrum. On one end, you got too much tire. On the other, you don't get enough. Both ends are rip-offs. You're either paying for more than you need or needing more even after you pay. So if you want a tire that costs what tires should cost and does what tires should do, go right for the sweet spot. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
The championship so close you can taste it. Oliver Askew has won the Freedom 100. Side by side. And your new champion, Christian Rasmussen.
After a short pit stop, we're back live on Road to Indy TV. I'm your host, Parker Thompson. I'm here with Rob Howden, the series development director, and we have got Race 2 in Indy Pro coming to you hot.
I like this because obviously we had a fantastic run there. Congratulations, of course, to Miles Rowe for that victory in the Cooper Tires USF2000 Championship. His first, but it was the wet weather that changed everything. The storylines changed. The grip level obviously changed, and that's what we're going to have here again. Mist coming back kind of just as we finished up our celebrations in the podium. That's going to make for a very interesting race.
Well, Rob, we've went the dry qualifying this morning in USF, wet qualifying this morning in Indy Pro, then a dry-ish race in USF2000, and now we're back to what looks like it's going to be full wet for Indy Pro 2000. What a day today.
I like it. I like the fact that we're throwing in a little bit more of a wrinkle, and I always love having a wet race, at least one or two throughout the season to see which driver kind of steps to the forefront. It'll be interesting for Hunter McElroy, of course, starting for the pole position. If he's able to get out front, you talk a lot about the mist, of course, you get in the back, especially in a full wet race. If you're somewhere in the middle of the pack, zero visibility into turn one.
Well, and especially such a high-speed, high-commitment place like MGMP, it's a huge advantage when you can actually see where you're going. You know where your turn-ins are. You miss a turn-in by half a foot here, and you're going to be off the track.
Well, one of the key things, too, in qualifying were the guys that are at the very tail of the field. Both of the J. Howard driver development cars down to the bottom. Christian Rasmussen trying to win a championship here, and he's well down the field. Could be an opportunity for guys chasing him like a Braden Eves to potentially get to the front and to see if he can't get some points back.
I made that mistake too, Rob. I counted Christian Rasmussen out at Gateway, and he went from 7th to 2nd. So I think he's got it. I think he's got it under control. But interesting to see the switch up. I mean, you look at the field. I don't know if anybody had the chance to tune in, but we'll update them for qualifying. Throughout qualifying, I think just about every driver sat on pole for a lap. It was just back and forth. You had Jacob Abel up there mixing it in the top 5 for the entire session, really the top 2. So just a mixed bag of qualifying. Hunter McElroy not really on the forefront until that last lap. Everybody went quicker the last lap.
Yeah, indeed, that Artem Petrov had gone to P1, and it seemed like he was going to be fine. In fact, Hunter McElroy was the last driver across the stripe as well, able just to pip Artem Petrov for that top spot, so he'll start on the pole. Better fortunes for Artem Petrov. Had an issue with the diffuser in qualifying yesterday. Had to start all the way at the tail of the field. I think he was the only one that made a pass on the racetrack, able to get by Kiffin Simpson with a good move down into 1. He'll start on the off pole. Good opportunity for him to come back. You think about where he's been in the last 3 weeks. Had that incident in the wall hard at Worldwide Technology Raceway. So if he can come back here and get a podium, that's going to go a long way to having him in the right headspace for the third race today, and of course Mid-Ohio as well.
And a lot of guys are on that cusp. You look at Kiffin Simpson, who cracked off a time on the very last lap to get up to 4th.
Indeed.
I mean, he was 8th and 9th for most of the session. Boom, last lap puts it 4th. Outside row 2, that's pretty good for a podium here, and I'm sure he's thinking about that.
Yeah, also throwing him in the middle of the mix up front. Kiffin's been learning and getting quicker and quicker throughout the season. Now, near the end of the run here, the schedule, we throw him in the middle of the scrap up front. Kiffin's done a lot of rain racing and karting as well, but not so much, of course, in the Indy Pro 2000 car.
So, Rob, off the top of my head, I don't know where that Reese Gold is at. Winner yesterday, and Hunter McElroy and him are fighting for 3rd in the championship. It's a pretty interesting little battle. Even Eves, he's not secured in 2nd, so that's where the real championship battle is. Obviously, Christian has a good lead. I think if he goes out and has a good finish, he'll be good. But that battle's heating up, and I know Reese Gold, I had him in the booth yesterday. When I brought up Hunter McElroy for 3rd, he pretty well deadlocked onto me and said, it's on.
Oh, really?
3rd, yeah, we know we're competing for 3rd.
Well, and Reese got his first win yesterday, too, which was huge. You know about confidence, momentum, wins breed wins, so we'll see if he's able to move his way forward. But again, Hunter McElroy is one of those guys that you put him out front into a lead, and he's almost unbeatable if he gets out front, especially here in these kind of conditions. If he has that open racetrack and a clear view, no mist in his face, I think he's able to walk away.
Well, and I think we have to note, too, Rob, there's a handful of guys in this field that were actually here in 2020. 2020 race 3, very similar conditions to exactly what qualifying and this race 2 is going to be. So those guys have an advantage. You know, the Jacob Abel, Hunter McElroy, those guys, they've been racing this car at this track in these similar conditions. So the first 3 laps of the race, they know where they're running. They don't have to choose a line.
And that's exactly it. And talk about this field and the talent level and how close they are together. Any little advantage is going to be a huge advantage, especially this particular racetrack. You keep talking about its nature and how it's the fast-flowing corners. That makes it even tougher in the wet. It's not like it's an easy track to navigate in the wet weather.
Yeah, 100%. And we watched it in the USF2000. Even if you got rain tires on, you're still getting the dirty air in the wet weather. It's not like we're going that much slower. I mean, turn 4 on wet tires in Indy Pro 2000 is almost flat, which is flat in the dry. So to give you that insight, it's probably the difference of 10 miles an hour for the high-speed corners. It's the low-speed corners where the big difference is in the rain, but the high speed, because of the downforce, you can actually carry a lot of speed in the wet.
And that's one of the things about this race car, too. Obviously, a step up from USF2000, 250 horsepower, a lot of bottom-end torque. Is it a tough car to drive? You've driven both the USF2000, the Indy Pro, and the Indy Lights car as well. Is it a tougher car to drive than USF2000?
Yes, I would say not only more physical, obviously, but the second part of it is it's just understanding the aerodynamics and the racecraft, right? You bomb it through turn 1 and turn 2. You're coming at top of 6, probably 150 miles an hour, maybe even touching that 160 mark. You clip 2 gears, and you don't even barely brake.
Wow.
You ship it through turn 1. So it's understanding how to cross the air, too, where USF2000, they're not punching as big of a hole, and there's not as much dirty air coming off the car. So you don't get that aero deficiency that you do in Indy Pro, and you really have to understand. It's neat to watch at an oval. I compare this track a lot to an oval, not because it turns left only, but because of what the drivers have to do and how they have to manipulate their line behind another car.
Interesting.
The goal is to get at least half of that front wing in the clean air so you've got that grip. So you'll see a lot of guys, you think they're running funny lines behind a car. All they're trying to do is get that clean air on the front wing.
And obviously, one of the big things about this race here, we are in the stretch run. There's only 4 more races still to go. You talked about Christian Rasmussen with that nice little lead he has over Braden Eves right now, finishing in front of Braden yesterday on the podium for Christian. That's the mindset. Again, we talk about the different mindsets. He's in really kind of a maintenance mindset. All he's got to do is hold on to where he is. Even a couple of top 5 finishes, he's going to be fine. Where Braden Eves is like, I got to win races, man.
100%. The interesting thing about Christian Rasmussen, though, and I don't know how much is haunting him or not, but he probably reflects back on his USF2000 championship run, where he went, wow, I had a massive, monstrous lead, and then I fumbled it away, and then kudos to him, he picked it back up where he left off, ended the season on a high note, and got the championship in USF2000 to bring him to Indy Pro. But there's been these flashes of chinks in the armor for Christian the last couple races, which I've been surprised to see.
Agreed.
It's one thing if you don't have the pace and you qualify 3rd, or like yesterday, qualifies 3rd, goes out and finishes 3rd. I thought that was a brilliant drive. That's what wins championships. Today, qualifying 8th in the wet?
Yeah.
Wow, the great equalizer, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
100%.
I've got good relationships with most of these teams in the paddock. They're not manipulating their setups that much from dry to wet. You can't change springs on a moment's notice. You can't change a lot of stuff. Maybe they'll change ride height. Obviously, they'll take the rear bar off. They'll try and soften the car up. Maybe they soften the front bar up, depending on what they're doing. But, I mean, we only had 30 minutes when it rained for Indy Pro 2000 qualifying. You can't put the car on a pad and put a full wet setup
that's
on.
it.
What I mean by that is everybody's in the same boat. The rain is the great equalizer. Everybody takes their dry setup on. You slap rain tires on. You can't miss the setup that bad in the wet.
And it's not so much about the setup anyways, right? When you're driving, it's way more about the driver himself on the input you put in.
And that's why I was so surprised to see Christian Rasmussen back in 8th. You compete for a championship, my money on him, and he was pole the first few laps, but just towards the end it looked like he fell off there.
What do you think that reasoning is for? Any idea?
I have an inkling. I watched James Rowe, who qualified, I believe he qualified 7th or 8th overall.
Was on a flyer, though.
He was on a flyer. They were very smart down at Turn 3 Motorsport. They actually pitted him halfway through the session. I thought it was too late because when he rolled out of pits, there was only about 5 minutes to go. But he put newer Cooper tire wets on that car, and that seemed to just bring him to life. I mean, he was in 9th or 10th before that, and then immediately shot up into the top 5 in one lap. My point being, I'm thinking Christian and a few other guys, Jacob Abel, they were too aggressive on their Cooper tires because it wasn't full wet. It was still, that misty rain. They were too hard on those Cooper tires, and then towards the end they had nothing. And that's why we see guys like, Kiffin Simpson. He went 2.5 seconds quicker on his last lap than he had done the entire session. So I'm thinking strategy. A guy like that and a team like Juncos, they don't just all of a sudden find 2.5 seconds. I'm thinking they were like, hey, we know what's at stake here. We know we don't have time to come in and change the tires, so don't kill the tires for the first 10 minutes. Go out, learn where the water is, learn where the track is, hit it on the last lap.
And it was getting drier. We know it was getting, not totally dry, but it was starting to get dry. The guys were going quicker the entire session.
100%. But you do see a few of those guys that hit that wall. And once you hit the wall, you've lost the rear tires for the most part, those guys. And it's funny because you can lose a rain tire just almost worse than you can lose a dry tire. Yes. Okay. Like dry tires fall off for Indy Pro 2000 on average would probably be about 0.5 second to 0.8. A wet tire, if you punish it, it just gives you zero grip. It's got half the contact patch of a slick tire. So its fall off is double the amount.
There you go. Great insight there. Race-wise, we're going to make our predictions again? What do you think?
Oh, this is an interesting one. I mean, an easy one, and I think I'll give it to you because you got to catch up in this championship.
Man, you are harsh on me right now. I'm telling you.
I'm sorry.
I think McElroy's going to get out front. I really do. Because I know you know this too. When he gets out front with a bit in his teeth, he's very tough to beat. So I'll go with McElroy.
That's perfect. Man, you got some guys in the back. This is probably one of the tough ones.
Yeah,
to really
I think
predict.
so too.
I hope Christian Rasmussen goes out and proves that he can drive in the wet. It's important for him mentally to finish off this championship strong.
Don't disagree with you.
He did it when I thought it would be impossible at Gateway. Rain driving, I give myself, I'll go ahead and pick the championship leader.
Really?
Yeah, I'll
From
give
deep
you
in the
such
field.
an advantage.
From deep in the field.
Such an advantage.
Very, very impressive for sure. It's going to be a great run in Indy Pro 2000. I like the fact that we're going full wet. I think it's going to give us a storyline that we really wanted coming into this race.
Yeah, I mean, the wet, we've already touched on it. It's a great equalizer.
Yeah.
What else do we have going through the season?
Well, I think first and foremost, I think you look at Reese Gold because I know Reese is planning on coming back to Indy Pro 2000 next year. I believe that is the plan.
Is he?
I think so. And to see what he has been able to do here, getting that race win yesterday, I think was so big for his confidence. Got a couple wins last year, and you think about this stretch run for him. He won his one at Mid-Ohio too. He goes back there with that confidence from this weekend. This is a guy that could finish off a season strong, and if he keeps it going here at New Jersey, that's just going to bleed into next year.
Well, that's really interesting you say that. Obviously, I was surprised to hear it, and you forget about it during the season. He kind of flew under the radar for the most part, but 5 poles, he leads the championship in poles.
The blinding pace is there, the straight pace. It's the racecraft, right? I don't want to throw him under the bus in racecraft because he's been really good. That race he had against Christian Rasmussen at Lucas Oil Raceway on the Oval was absolutely epic. He probably could have rooted him and put him up into the wall, but he drove clean. That's the one thing about Reese Gold, super clean driver, but the racecraft is getting better and better. This guy, if he comes back to Indy Pro 2000 next year, the outright contender from the get-go.
Well, and it's nice to see Juncos Racing back up there at the top. I mean, they've been such a dominant force on the road to Indy, particularly here at NGMP. You know, what have you heard over there? What are they developing? Obviously now Juncos Hollinger. I had a talk with Ricky, and it was pretty interesting in the interview. I'm sure it'll get posted here later, but it was a nice compliment. He said, he looked at me straight in the face, and he said, the reason I did this deal with Brad is to get talent in our team. And he's like, guys like you that have fallen through the cracks.
Wow, all right.
I want good drivers in my cars.
That's big. Brad Hollinger, of course, coming in. Juncos Hollinger Racing. Ricky's going to have his team in the final 3 races of the NTT IndyCar Series this year. Then a full campaign in 2022 as well. And you're right. It's going to be able to allow some of those guys that are working for Ricky in Indy Pro and Indy Lights potentially to get up to the IndyCar program as well.
It's going to be really interesting. Juncos Racing, they're already a force. They've been one of the most winningest teams on the road to Indy, but it'll be interesting to see how they tackle IndyCar again in 2022.
Sure enough. It's
going to be very interesting. Enough talk, though. We got to get to the race. But before then, we've talked a lot about these Cooper tires in the wet and dry. Why don't we get down with Oliver Gavin to talk even more about Cooper tires? I think the best way to get to the bottom of how Cooper Tires is activating on the road to Indy is to talk with the guy running the show, the development manager, Gavin Johnson. This guy's smart. He designs the tires. Gavin, take me through the process of you have a tire on the racetrack, now you're putting it on the streets.
Yeah, the objectives are obviously quite different. However, the technology is shared to some degree. The material science that we gain an understanding of on the racetrack transfers very nicely to the technology that we have to implement for our road products.
That is fantastic. Describe to us how different the tires are from USF2000 to Indy Lights, and then we can maybe talk about the street tire too to give the fans some insight.
Yeah, sure. The whole program is a development series. We're teaching drivers, we're teaching team personnel, we're teaching engineers the art of running a race car and driving a race car. Therefore, the design philosophy at the very lowest level of the USF2000s is to give a very consistent, very stable platform on which the driver can learn. They can make mistakes, they can recover from those mistakes and not be punished by the tyre dropping off or falling out of a window. Likewise, from an engineering perspective, we can make changes to the car and we can gauge a positive or a negative response without it being masked by massive tyre degradation.
And then taking that to the streets, obviously our tire, you need it to last, because if it doesn't get to the end of a 30-lap race, it's going to be tough to get 100,000 miles out of it. Take me through the technology specifically that you learn on the road to Indy back to the street cars.
There's the great thing about a motorsport program such as this is that behind the scenes we are able to do an enormous amount of simulation and testing, and during that process you have the opportunity to evaluate a huge array of potential materials that you wouldn't necessarily even consider if you weren't given the opportunity to rapidly develop and test product. That feeds through to our road tyre development in a very positive manner.
Well, that is a great end to it. It's great to have everybody involved in motorsports, and we thank you for all your work on making our tires last as race car drivers. That means a lot to us.
TopCon. We know a thing or two about a smooth surface. Roads and highways? Piece of cake. Airports? Let's just say it'll be the smoothest landing you've ever had. But what about when you want to go fast? Real fast. No. Faster. We've helped cars go faster than they've ever gone before. Broken a few lap records along the way. Want the best paving performance? Go to the source. TopCon. Always one step ahead.
Karting and motorsport enthusiasts, Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the Road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
As your uncle, I want you to know that on the road of life, there will be rough spots, and they will chew up your tires. I recently took a road trip to Greensville to attend a chili cook-off. Rough roads all the way down. I drove there on these Cooper Discoverer and Duramax tires. You know, they're made with the durability of off-road tires, but for on-road driving. Without them, we might never know the winning bean-to-meat ratio of a good chili. And those are the things in life, my friend, worth driving towards. So go with the Coopers. Cooper! I'm hungry now.
With over 40 years in business, High Tide Boat Lifts is committed to elevating your craft. Whether you own a personal watercraft or a large yacht, we can design and create the perfect lift for your needs. At High Tide Boat Lifts, we understand that you've worked hard to get to a successful place in life. We'll ensure you have a hassle-free experience, maximizing the time you spend on your boat with family and friends, and supporting your dreams out on the open water.
And once again, getting set to go here at New Jersey Motorsports Park for the second of 3 races in the Indy Pro 2000 Championship presented by Cooper Tires. We had a wild one there at USF2000. If you tuned into that one, it was crazy from start to finish. We have a fully wet track right now here, though, for Indy Pro. Not the drying track like we saw with USF2000. Fully wet, although the rain has stopped here trackside, which could make things interesting towards the end of this 25-lap contest. Indy Pro 2000 rolling out onto the grid right now to get things underway. Let's have a look at the grid of 10 cars who will get set to go racing here today. Wyatt Prokachik in that number 5 for Jay Howard Driver Development. Starting on the outside of row number 5, inside of that row, Christian Rasmussen out of Copenhagen, Denmark, the point leader, not having the best of luck in the qualifying session. He'll start at the very tail of the field on row number 5, P9 for Christian Rasmussen. Row number 4, James Rowe Jr. was on a flyer late in that session, then spun the car, not able to get what he had in that lap time. He's going to start 8th position for James Rowe in the Turn 3 Motorsport machine. Rowe in the number 3 starting 8th. Inside of that row, starting in the 7th spot, Jacob Abel from Abel Motorsports in the Crosley Brands machine. Abel was near the top of the charts for majority of the session, but as that track started to dry, everybody going quicker over the final circuits, not able to capitalize on the end of that. So Abel will start in the 7th position. We move now to row number 3 on the outside. Jack William Miller in the number 40 out of Indiana for Miller Vinatieri Motorsports. Miller's quick time a 123.046, so he will start in the 6th position outside of row number 3. Inside of that row, the driver who just logged his first ever Indy Pro 2000 win, scoring the victory yesterday for Juncos Hollinger Racing. Of course, that's Reese Gold, the rookie driver, the number 55 out of Miami, Florida. Gold starting in the 5th position inside of row number 3. Well, he'll be alongside Jack William Miller. Moving up now to row number 2 on the outside. Best qualifying effort of the year for Kiffin Simpson from the Cayman Islands for Juncos Hollinger Racing. Top rookie in the field as well for this start. Number 21 machine launching from the 4th position. 122.850 during that qualifying run. Driver who does need to try to get some more points, battling for a championship here right now at New Albany, Ohio for Exclusive Autosport. Braden Eves in the number 91, starting in the 3rd spot at 122.604. And he'll have his teammate starting 2nd on the outside of row number 1. That is Artem Petrov for the number 42, a win earlier this year at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, coming off a nasty wreck at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Had trouble in qualifying yesterday, had to launch from dead last in 10th position, was able to get one spot during that race because he kept fighting for the position. Much better start right now for Artem Petrov as he will be on the outside of row number 1. Petrov in the 42 out of St. Petersburg, Russia. Petrov a 122.311 in qualifying. But the driver able to pit Petrov at the very end of the session, last driver to cross the timing stripe, and he moved to pole position right at the end of that 30-minute session. Hunter McElroy, the driver who now lives here in the U.S., runs under the flag of New Zealand, dual citizen at both New Zealand and the USA. Hunter McElroy for Pabst Racing in the number 18, starting on the pole position. It will be McElroy and Petrov on row 1, Eves and Simpson on row 2, Gold and Miller on row 3, Abel and Rowe on row 4, and Rasmussen and Prokachik on row number 5. Should be an interesting race in full wets. We are about ready to get things underway with the drivers who are here on pit lane. Again, just waiting for the call from race control to light things up here right now. 10 drivers ready to get at it. And again, Hunter McElroy will start on the pole position alongside Artem Petrov. And again, Eves and Simpson will be on row 2. Gold and Miller on row 3. Should be a very interesting start when the drivers head down into turn number 1. And again, just waiting for the call from race control to get things underway. 10 drivers ready to get out here in what will be very, very challenging conditions. So, folks, bringing us back up here to the Cooper Tire Broadcast Center. My name is Rob Howden, joined by Jake Dillon here, one of our guests from Michael Deere Orlando's team coming to join us here. And he's going to be the guy to get things underway. It's time to fire the engines. Jake, I'll turn it over to you.
To Indy drivers, start your engines.
And there you go. Jake's giving you the call, starting the engines down on pit lane right now. We'll get things underway, and we are ready to go. We'll thank Jake for helping us out up here. You can hang out here if you want and watch from here if you'd like, whatever you want to do. We'll have Parker Thompson joining us back for the USF2000 races. Of course, Parker also helping out Jacob Abel as his spotter here for this weekend. So I'll be handling this myself as we get set to go racing. McElroy and Petrov on the front row, a couple of veteran drivers in their second full seasons in Indy Pro 2000. Both race winners. McElroy, of course, coming off a victory at Mid-Ohio about 6 weeks ago. Third yesterday, wants to get to the top of the box. And a great battle as as Parker Thompson mentioned earlier in the championship scrap here right now. It's Hunter McElroy and Reese Gold in the middle of a fight for third spot. 18 points separate them right now with Gold in P3, McElroy back and fourth. And again, Hunter McElroy with a win here could potentially tighten that up as we head into the third race of the weekend this afternoon. Cars heading out as we get set to go racing now. Hunter McElroy will lead him out of pit lane as we get set to go. Drivers working their way down in here to turn number 3. Opportunity to get around this racetrack to get a feel a little bit for what it's like here in the wet. As Parker mentioned earlier in our pre-race, the drivers who were here last year getting an opportunity to drive this track in the wet, a little bit of an advantage, I think, over those who may not have had a chance to be out here. So you got to give props potentially to Hunter McElroy, to Artem Petrov, Braden Eves. A driver like Kiffin Simpson, his first year on the road to Indy, has not had a chance to run this particular track in wet conditions like this. So a little bit of a disadvantage for Simpson. Same goes for Reese Gold, drivers who potentially haven't been out here yet. So, and as I said, my thought is if McElroy is able to get out front with not having that spray, that mist, that blinding spray that gets in all over the visor, super hard to see. You're really a lot of the times relying on your peripheral vision, seeing the side of the racetrack wherever it may need to be. Obviously keying a bit on the rain light on the car in front of you. It is tough when you get that huge spray. It'll be massive going into turn number 1 the first time here as well. But you've got to commit. You've got to use those peripherals to figure out where you are on the racetrack. If McElroy can get out front, I think he will benefit greatly from being able to pull away. One driver spinning further back there in turn number 6 and 7. So I don't think we're going to go green this time by. That driver, you see, oh, nope, driver restarting again. You can see them in the back part of the screen here as we look now at 11 and 12. Going to get a couple laps around the racetrack here first just to get a good feel, similar to what we did with USF2000. That might have been James Rowe that went around. Again, Field will take another trip around the racetrack here to get things underway. Kiffin Simpson, I think, was actually the driver who went around. We'll get Kiffin an opportunity to get back up here and into his grid position, P4. So Simpson, the driver, looping it in 6 as the drivers again come up here onto the front straightaway. A little feel for what they got grip level-wise. Much different than we had in qualifying. It was wet, but it was rapidly drying throughout that session as we saw drivers get quicker and quicker. Kiffin Simpson going to work his way back up to his grid spot here. Oh, maybe not. I wonder if they're going to put... He's slowing again. They may be putting him back to the tail of the field after what happened on track there. Yeah, because of the spin, he's going to have to go to the tail of the field. So tough for Kiffin Simpson, who is scheduled to start P4. We will go green, I believe, this time around. Time to fire things up here. 25 laps for the drivers here in Indy Pro 2000. Christian Rasmussen with a 40-point lead over Braden Eves. Coming into the event, Eves starting in 2nd. Rasmussen will now move up to 8th on the grid with the demotion of Simpson to the tail of the field after the spin. So great opportunity for Eves to claw some points back here. With the full wet weather race here as well, that's going to really change things too for grid number 3, the grid for race 3. It'll likely go off of the second fastest lap of the qualifying, or rather, yeah, the qualifying session as opposed to the fastest lap of this race because the race is so wet. They're just simply not going to get the same lap times. Time to go racing. Wet weather racing for the drivers here in Indy Pro 2000, the second rung of the road to Indy. And, of course, all racing after that scholarship worth over $750,000 to go to Indy Lights in 2022. A NTT IndyCar test for the champion as well later on this year. Pace car has made its way into pit lane. Time to go racing here at New Jersey Motorsports Park, the 2.25-mile, 12-turn road circuit here in Millville, New Jersey. Drivers getting anxious, ready to get on it. This run down to turn number 1 is going to be intriguing. Here they come out of turn number 12 now. Hunter McElroy will lead them down. Obviously, the issue potentially spinning your tires as well. He'll want to roll on that throttle and get that jump. If he gets out into the lead, could be a good opportunity for him to potentially stretch away. Field set. Green, green, green. Flag flying as they work their way now down into turn number 1. 4 wide coming into the corner. Big outside move there for Jack William Miller trying to hold the spot as well. He may go to P4. Big move to the bottom. One driver losing the wing. Damage to one of the cars. Oh, and a spin further back. That's James Rowe is spun coming out of turn number 2. Christian Rasmussen has lost his front wing. Rasmussen has lost the front wing, and Rowe's coming back on the racetrack. That is going to be a pit, I bet, for Christian Rasmussen. No yellow either, I don't think, as the wing went up in the air and literally off into the grass to the outside of the racetrack. So Christian Rasmussen has lost the wing, the championship leader. I'm sure that crew ready to go to work, getting that front wing back on. Artem Petrov into the lead. Petrov is the leader. Let's see how things settle in here on the opening lap, but I believe Petrov going to P1. Hunter McElroy, I think, back into the second position. Indeed, Petrov is the leader. McElroy into second. Or is that Eves? Hard to pick up exactly who it is. We'll see which one of the exclusive Autosport cars it is who has gone to P1. Working their way out of turn number 12. The exclusive cars are first and third. So I'm going to say it's likely Eves. No, it's Petrov. Artem Petrov, actually. Artem Petrov to the lead. And we await the car of Rasmussen. Indeed, he comes into pit lane as Petrov now leading. Petrov leads. Second is McElroy. Third is Braden Eves. And here comes the number 1 machine in. They'll go to work getting a front wing on the car of Christian Rasmussen. So Petrov in that exclusive Autosport number 42 out front, taking the lead on the opening circuit. And as we talked about, myself and Parker Thompson, once you're out front like that with clean air and no visor, no issues with the visor at all, with that spray, that mist, the rooster tails, much better place to be on the racetrack. A pretty decent advantage right now. But the thing about it is these conditions, very, very treacherous. Doesn't take much to make a mistake and have the car go around. You're always riding on the ragged edge. Petrov, though, up front now. Had an issue in qualifying yesterday. Started at the tail of the field in 10th. Was able to get by Kiffin Simpson to move to 9th. Strong qualifying run earlier today as he put himself P2. Almost the pole, only to get stolen away by Hunter McElroy the last lap. Last couple of seconds, the dying seconds of the session. But check out Petrov. He is booking it right now. Artem Petrov long gone on Hunter McElroy. Wow. Braden Eves runs in that third spot. Jacob Abel in fourth. Could be more damage to the car of Christian Rasmussen. He stays in pit lane right now. So Rasmussen still in pit lane with the car team working on that race car. Has dropped him to the tail of the field. Artem Petrov, P5 in points coming in, 91 points behind Christian Rasmussen. Four races left to go in the championship, including this one here for Indy Pro 2000 drivers as the rain coming down again a little bit harder here now. Front wing on the car of Rasmussen, and he'll head back out. opening lap incident for Rasmussen. He is now a couple laps back. Petrov in the 42 leading the way. Tougher visibility, as you can see from the cameras here at New Jersey Motorsports Park. Quite a bit of precipitation coming down. Still a little bit, I believe, mist. I don't think it's overly aggressive right now. Maybe just kind of misting a bit. See what Petrov's lead's like now as Braden Eves trying to close up a bit here on Hunter McElroy. We'll look at lap times there as well. Four laps into a 25-lapper. 25 laps or 50 minutes for the race here in Indy Pro 2000. 6-second lead already for Artem Petrov. McElroy and Eves in second and third. McElroy a couple tenths of a second quicker than Eves on that last lap. Petrov almost 2 full seconds faster than Hunter McElroy. This guy can get it in the wet. Always exciting for me to find out which drivers have that ability to really excel in these type of challenging conditions, and Petrov obviously showing extremely well out front right now. Rasmussen back on the racetrack. As we had said, getting his third lap in, just down by 1 lap now. Six seconds the lead for Petrov. McElroy and Eves negotiating their way through turns 10, 11, over to 12. We'll jump right into the USF2000 Race 3 after this event here. Jacob Abel not done it all yet either with Reese Gold. That's the battle you're seeing here into turn number 1. Abel, who was quick in that qualifying session, just not able to maximize at the end of the run. Gold now running in that 4th spot. Jacob Abel 5th, Jack William Miller in 6th, Wyatt Prokachik 7th, Kiffin Simpson 8th, James Rowe 9th, and Christian Rasmussen 10th. Battle there for 2nd spot. Not so much a battle right now as McElroy's got a decent little advantage right now over Braden Eves by about 1.6 seconds. Last time by was a 10th quicker again. So McElroy just slowly inching away from Braden Eves. Umbrella's back out on the pit lane. As the rain continues to fall. Petrov just continues to pull away here. 7.4 seconds now the lead for Artem. Again, very early in the race, though, 6 laps into a 25-lap event. USF2000, their final race of the weekend, up next. And as I said, Kiko Porter with an opportunity to clinch the championship. Michael D'Orlando, though, will be starting on the pole position once again. Porter's going to start back in that 4th spot. D'Orlando with an opportunity to try to get another win here, close it up a little bit. Not let it all wrap up now. Petrov's very consistent. Continues to run times here in the 130s. Reese Gold pretty quick as well, 130.84. Just about a tick off, a 10th of a second off of the fast time there for Artem Petrov. So Reese Gold turning things up a bit as well. He's 7.5 seconds behind Braden Eves, but was quicker by almost a full second last time by. So we'll keep an eye on Reese Gold, whether or not he's able to cut into that gap between he and Braden Eves. Both Eves, actually everybody, Gold, Eves, McElroy, Petrov, all those drivers in the top 5 behind Christian Rasmussen going to tighten things up there. Artem Petrov cruises nicely into turn number 3. You can see the gap back now to Hunter McElroy and then Braden Eves. Over the rise comes McElroy into turn number 4. Yeah, McElroy's pulling away now as well. Full second quicker than Eves on that last lap. Gold getting it down to 7 seconds now. He was faster than Eves by about 4/10. 7 laps in the books. Being told that the incident between James Rowe and Jack William Miller from the very start of the race will be under review by our race direction team. All we saw was Rowe off track. Into turn number 3, and just look how far back. There's Reese Gold trying to close up here as well on Braden Eves on the last lap. He was 4/10 faster, a 131.3. Reese Gold, pretty much the second quickest driver on the racetrack behind Artem Petrov, who now has a 9.5 second lead. And I'll tell you, if this kind of weather stays for the rest of the day, and there's a very good possibility it may, plays well for Artem Petrov as he looks to try to potentially get a couple of wins here. Long way to go in this race, as we know. Eight laps down of 25. Petrov once again across the lines. You can see McElroy and Eves rolling their way through turn number 11. It's been a good season for Artem Petrov. Highlighted, of course, by the victory at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. A couple of podiums to start the season at Barber Motorsports Park. 4th and 8th at St. Petersburg. 3 top 5s, including the win in the triple header at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 7th on the oval at Lucas Oil Raceway. Then had a good run over 3 races. 3 runner-up finishes over 4 races. Road America and Mid-Ohio. Second both days at Mid-Ohio. Of course, the incident with Jack William Miller, contact between those two drivers at Worldwide Technology Raceway sent them into the wall, and he ended up finishing 12th. But then yesterday, we talked about the fact qualified at the tail of the field, was able to get by Kiffin Simpson late, so a 9th place finish. This would be a nice recovery for Artem Petrov, who's trying to get himself back into the fight. Solid day so far as well for Exclusive Autosport, trying to see if they can't extend their lead in the team championship standings as well. First and third would most definitely get that done. 10.4 seconds now the lead for Petrov. Back across the line again. Reese Gold, another 4/10 quicker than Braden Eves. That gap between 3rd and 4th now down to 6.1 seconds. Eves just crossing the line now. Reese Gold can see him up the road. It's always nice to have that rabbit in front of you. Yeah, another 0.6 of a second here on lap number 10. 5.6 seconds the gap. between Eves and Gold. Reese Gold just 20 points behind Braden Eves coming in as well. Artem Petrov leading, Hunter McElroy second, Braden Eves third, fourth is Reese Gold, fifth is Jacob Abel, sixth is Jack William Miller, seventh Wyatt Prokachik, eighth Kiffin Simpson, ninth, one lap down is Christian Rasmussen, and 10th now is James Rowe. That's going to help Rasmussen a little bit with Rowe having to come into pit lane, moving him up a spot, a couple more bonus points, or points for Rasmussen as he continues to try to stay out in front as your point leader. Massive lead for Artem Petrov. This guy is magnificent today here in the wet. Tough racetrack, as Parker Thompson mentioned. Petrov's lead at lap number 11, now 11.9 seconds. Braden Eves got to get up and go. A 131.9 for Eves, a 131.6 for Reese Gold, cutting it down to 5.3 seconds now. Eves now 3.6 behind McElroy, but has to think about holding on to that final step on the podium. Gold's trying to reel him in. Again, Christian Rasmussen, the issue we'd said, the contact on that opening circuit, knocking that front wing off. Wing actually went off the side of the racetrack, so no need for full course yellow, which then, of course, made that pit stop he had to make much worse, having to get everything repaired, then drop it a lap. He's been able to get that one spot back from James Rowe, who came into pit lane. Continuing to see how close Reese Gold is getting to Braden Eves. They come down the front straightaway. There's Eves into turn number one. Gold rolls it in there as well. Last time by, he was quicker by half a second again. But a half a second elapsed, what we're seeing, a half second, 0.6 of a second. The gap now 4.8 seconds. 25 lap or a half a second. He's going to get there. Sun trying to work its way through the clouds here. But obviously full wet conditions. You can see just how damp this racetrack is. The rooster tail still coming up from behind the cars as they circulate around the racing facility here. Championship most definitely tightened up, though, as we said, as the point leader having that issue early, down a lap. Everybody closing back up. Of course, Eves, Gold, McElroy, Petrov, all still in the championship discussion within 91 points coming in. Petrov, of course, the furthest back, but an opportunity for 33 points here. Could be a big one for Petrov. Gain back a bunch of points. As they run on the racetrack, I believe Petrov very likely closing to within probably about 71 or 72 points now. Going to gain a bunch of points back, probably 20 points. Yeah, he'll get 20 points back if he gets fast lap of the race and most laps led. Potentially 32 points for him. 13.5 seconds is the gap now for Petrov as we're past the halfway point. 13 laps down, 12 to go. Wyatt Prokopchuk chasing Jack William Miller here as well. James Rowe Jr. is going to head back into pit lane as well. There's the battle there for third spot. So James Rowe back into pit lane. What's the gap now between Eves and Reese Gold? Gap last time, another half a second. Gold back by 4.3 now with 12 to go. Comes Gold across the line. Drivers working their way out of turn number 3, cresting the hill, down to turn number 4. Petrov looking good in the 42. Three more races still in the Indy Pro 2000 after this one. Of course, the finale of the weekend this afternoon, plus 2 more at Mid-Ohio. Long shot for Petrov, but if he was able to win race number 3 and gain some more points back, could be interesting for him. Christian Rasmussen is actually closed up and is going to go by his teammate Wyatt Prokopchuk. He is a lap down here, and Prokopchuk trying to race it out with Jack William Miller. There's that shot right there. Now down to the inside. Rasmussen showing his speed as he goes to the inside as well. Slides by both Prokopchuk and Miller. Already pulling away a little bit here from Jack William Miller, maybe giving an opportunity for Prokopchuk to find a way by. Not quite yet. Jack William Miller still holding on to what is the 6th position. Prokopchuk in 7th. Reese Gold just 2.4 seconds back, was a full second quicker than Braden Eves last time by. Reese Gold is coming to try to take a battle here on Braden Eves, who runs second in points. Eves needs all the points he possibly can. As they run, Rasmussen Eves would have made up 10 points, only 30 points back. .5 seconds the lead now for Petrov. Fast lap time of 1:30.152. Christian Rasmussen actually has got the fastest outright lap of 1:29.882. So Rasmussen with the fast lap, that's a bonus point that he needed to get. Nine laps remaining. Reese Gold continues to close in here on Braden Eves. 9/10 quicker the last lap, 1.5 back now for Reese Gold. Seems inevitable that Gold will catch him and potentially go by. Hard to pass, though, but with that kind of a gap, you think he may be able to get by him on the front straightaway. Eves trying to hold on to P3, but Reese Gold looking to steal that away from him. That would change things a bit. It'd be 33 points the gap now if he goes back to 4th to Christian Rasmussen from Braden Eves. Eves needs that spot. Reese Gold, though, trying to close up as well. Gold would be only 50 points back. 15.7 seconds up the road. Back across the line comes Petrov. Oh, you can see how close it is now, further back there. I want to say it looks like Braden Eves is closing up on Kiffin Simpson here. Indeed, so he'll get a run on Kiffin coming down the front straight, and we'll pass him actually at the halfway, right at the start-finish. 8 laps to go. There it is, how close Reese Gold has gotten. He was, 8 point something back at a time. Closed it down nicely to just under a second. Reese Gold coming off that win yesterday, buoyed by the confidence, that first victory at Indy Pro 2000. Braden Eves coming off that win as well at Worldwide Technology Raceway, third race win of the season. Had a rough run through Lucas Oil, the race at Lucas Oil, the Freedom 90 through to Mid-Ohio. And rough in Braden's terms, let's put it that way. Fourth at Lucas Oil Raceway, fourth in both the races at Road America. Mid-Ohio, though, a fifth and a ninth. Not what he needed when his primary challenger, Christian Rasmussen, was winning races. Yeah, that ninth spot at Mid-Ohio, worst finish of the year for Braden Eves. Seventh yesterday. Bouncing back right now, potentially holding on to third or fourth. Gold down the middle of the racetrack here now. Key is now, we've seen people have tough times passing here, even with the rain, as Parker Thompson said in the pre-race. Still pretty hard to pass. They still have that issue with getting the understeer, the aero wash, when you lose that air over the front wing, gets rid of that downforce. That may be the saving grace right now for Braden Eves, because Reese Gold has been an absolute flyer coming from deep back, over 8 seconds behind, and has closed it up over the last number of laps with 7 more to go. There's that battle for third. Jacob Abel, 21 seconds behind in P5, but another top 5 potentially here for Jacob Abel. There's been a bunch of those this year. That's some really good runs. That would be his, I want to say, 5th top 5 in the last 8 races. This time he is close. Reese Gold trying to set up Eves through turn 11 over to 12. Are we going to see a pass here? No, not quite enough. Gap still substantial coming out of 12. Good job there for Eves. Gold showing him the mirror. Filling that mirror up. Yeah, so fast lap of the race right now belongs to Christian Rasmussen, 129.6. And he's literally turning lap times in the 129s. They've got a great race car. They not had that issue early. You got to think that he may have been able to challenge for the race win. Great car for Christian Rasmussen. 129.6 fast lap, 129.8 on the last circuit as he comes back across the line to put lap number 17 in the books for him. He's one lap down. Lap 18, rather. Just reset fast lap, 129.225. 1.5 seconds faster than Artem Petrov, the leader, on that last lap for Rasmussen. Stellar. Jack William Miller had a spin, went around, was able to continue. That's why he's dropped back into the 7th spot. It's that battle for third. He's still able to hold off Gold, who's not been able to close up and make that pass yet. 20 laps in the books, 5 to go. Essentially right into USF2000 after this. Capping off the day here at Road to Indy Thunder. The Road to Indy Thunder Grand Prix at New Jersey Motorsports Park. Those of you who have joined us trackside, hope you're having a great weekend thus far. Hope you brought the wet weather gear today. We got through it yesterday, but weren't able to dodge it today. Fully wet race here for Indy Pro 2000. Petrov across the line again. That's how far he just came across the line. You can see McElroy literally hanging the rear end out coming through turn number 11. Eves doing everything he can to stay out front. Looks like the rain has stopped as well completely. A lot more clear outside. Petrov leading by 16.8 seconds now. Dominant run for the Russian. Petrov, it would be his second win of the season as well. Good for him coming off the incident at Worldwide Technology Raceway. He is looking good right now. Been the dominant driver on the racetrack. Big lead, but not as quick as we said as Christian Rasmussen. His 129.225. A smoking fast lap. Just did a 131.4. Petrov again across the line, putting another lap in the books. 21 of them, 4 laps remaining. Reese Gold was able to catch Braden Eves. You'll see them there coming through turn number 11 now, but has not been able to get close enough to make any kind of an overtake. So Eves still holding on to P3. Potential to make up about 10 points, 9 points. 3 laps to go. Live timing updating for me. 22 laps down, 3 laps more to go here. Yeah, Braden Eves looking to score 22 points. Rasmussen would be getting 12, but add that extra, so 9-point difference. Get the gap down to 31 points. Petrov doing the same. Petrov most laps led, so he'd be looking at 31 points in total. Petrov, as they run, would have 306. Rasmussen, 380. So he would get it down to 74 points. Big improvement for Artem Petrov. Expected maybe a little more racing in this one here, but as such, right now, pretty straightforward run. Drivers starting to get that. You know what? This track's starting to dry up a bit. The rain has stopped. We're not done, I don't think, yet with the fast lap of the race. We're getting guys down now into the 129s. 129.4 for both Petrov and McElroy, 129.6 for Eves, 129.1. Rasmussen resets fast lap of the race at 129.140. No, it's actually Petrov, 129.404. No, 404. Still the one, 129.1. Almost wrap this one up. I believe 2 more laps to go. Looking for Artem Petrov. 16.4 seconds. Fast lap of 1:29.1. So we'll see if anybody's quicker. If the track dries up a little bit here, fuel loads are low, obviously. Car's lighter. But what kind of grip do you get on the tires? Here comes Artem Petrov across the line. And he gets the white flag, 1 to go for Petrov. 1:28.8 last time by. So Rasmussen still with that bonus point of a fast lap. No, I'm seeing 1:29.001. So indeed, I think the Petrov may have fast lap as well. Final lap on the racetrack. Braden Eves has been able to stretch away enough as well from Reese Gold. Here's your leader. Let's follow Petrov here on that final circuit. Artem Petrov. Tough time in qualifying yesterday. Had to start dead last. Much different today. Started on the outside of the front row. The quiet young man from St. Petersburg, Russia. Looking to finish it off through turn number 7. He'll make up a ton of points in the championship battle as well. Still a long shot at potentially getting the points he needs. Of course, with the shorter fields here as well. But working out to these final corners. Petrov closing up on James Rowe Jr. Through out of turn number 10. Through 11. And getting ready to come out of turn number 12. What a comeback after being in the wall at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Onto the front straightaway, the winner, Artem Petrov. And he is jubilant behind the wheel, pumping the fist. Huge win for Artem Petrov and the Exclusive Autosport crew. Celebrating down on Victory Lane. Solid win here as well. Kimberly Duncalf, the co-owner and wife of team owner Michael Duncalf, on site here, her first race trackside. So good to have Kimberly Duncalf here and had a chance to celebrate with the team. Big win for Artem Petrov. Hunter McElroy second, Braden Eves third. So P1 and P3 for Exclusive Autosport. McElroy second, good run for him. Reese Gold in fourth, Jacob Abel fifth, Wyatt Prokachik in sixth spot, Jack William Miller seventh, Kiffin Simpson eighth, Christian Rasmussen ninth, and James Rowe in 10th. Looking at live timing on my phone here, 1:28.2 is what I'm seeing potentially as the fast lap, and that would be Braden Eves, no? It keeps updating on me here right now. I'll have to look a little later to figure out who it is. It might be Hunter McElroy at 1:28.2. Regardless, it's Artem Petrov with the win. And again, how big for Artem having been in the wall, as we said, the incident happening at Worldwide Technology Raceway, a hard wreck for Artem. He's able to come around and get back here this weekend. A little sore, a little stiff, no doubt about it, because that wreck, of course, was just last weekend. But to get here, have the issue in qualifying yesterday, ends up qualifying in the 10th spot. Better, though, in the qualifying today, and ends up with the win. He is already out of the car. He literally has the belts off with the crew here, coming down onto the front straightaway. They've stopped him here at start finish. They're going to allow him now to drive into victory lane, Tatis victory lane, and a very, very happy Artem Petrov, that is for sure. We'll see him roll in there momentarily. 10 after 2 local time here right now. We are starting our driver introductions for USF2000 here momentarily as well. Indeed, 2:20 scheduled start time for driver introductions. That's about 10 minutes from now. There's Artem Petrov, folks, as he has worked his way. They're trying to get him here into victory lane. He's just getting it back in gear. Big one here for Artem Petrov to be able to get this done here today and get himself back where he needs to go. Cambridge Global Payments on the side of the race car. Big one is a number of guests from Cambridge here this weekend with Exclusive Autosport. You'll see the team come and join him. There's Michael Duncalf, team owner. Kimberly Duncalf there as well. As I said, Kimberly able to join us here this particular weekend, first event of the year. So out he gets out of the car, and again, big win for Artem Petrov. Almost can't believe it from what had happened yesterday, what happened at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Fantastic recovery for Artem Petrov. He is the winner today. Big run as well for Hunter McElrea in second and Braden Eves in third. Folks, we're about 10 minutes away from getting things going for driver introductions for Indy Pro 2000. Stay with us, more to come.
and gentlemen, we now have round 15 of the Indy Pro 2000 Championship presented by 2000 in the books. An exciting race, to say the least. Very difficult conditions out there. To present the trophies for this race, we have both Dan Anderson, who's the president and CEO of the Anderson Companies, and also Chris Pantani from Cooper Tires. So let's first of all welcome our third place finisher, driving for the exclusive Motorsport team. He's currently running second in the championship from New Albany, Ohio. Big round of applause for Braden Eames. Tricky conditions.
Yeah, very tricky conditions there, especially at the start. We didn't really know what to expect. The qualifying was quite dry in a lot of the corners. And then Artem just checked out straight away. I don't think really anyone had to take for him today. He just did a fantastic job. Congrats to him. Congrats to the whole team, first and third. Great team points. And, you know, looking forward to tomorrow. Maybe, hopefully, another wet race.
Tomorrow?
Never mind. Later today.
Awesome. Congratulations. Braden Eames, our third place finisher today. Presenting the trophy is going to be Dan Anderson, President and CEO of the Anderson Companies. Congratulations to Braden Eames. Keeps him in contention for the championship with his championship leader finishing down the order somewhat. Our second place finisher, continuing his streak of podiums, in second place today for Paps Racing car number 18. Big round of applause for the tall New Zealand, I thought that was short, but from New Zealand is Hunter McElroy. Hunter, another great result from you, keeping this podium streak alive. You talked before the weekend, you were kind of out of the championship picture, you just wanted to go for wins, and a second place is pretty close to a win.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, pole running was great. I believe I have pole for race 3 as well. Yeah, you know, Petrov just, I don't know, he had some big performance or what, but he just checked out the start. And, you know, hindsight, I probably could have, should have, would have maybe pushed it harder to start, but I'll take second. I mean, you know, you can't complain. I think we'll be fine in fourth, but so I'll keep doing that rest of the year, and yeah, just keep doing all I can. So congrats to everyone, he's doing really well. Looking forward to next year, especially.
Right at the end of the race, you set the fastest lap of the race. You waited a long time to show that pace.
Yeah, I don't know if even someone else hit me in the end, but it was, to be honest, it was just the track was dry in the end, and yeah, I kind of was pushing a bit harder, but by then, you know, it was kind of I wasn't wanting to risk too much. But, you know, if I could have got past that great, I think I was a bit bigger than Petrov, but obviously he caught a huge gap before that. So anyway, you know, great points, and we'll look forward to it.
Second place station to present the trophy to Hunter McElroy from Cooper Tires, Mr. Chris Pantani. Wow, what a performance. Also for the exclusive Motorsport team, driving that number 42 car from St. Petersburg in Russia, Artem Petrov. That was a tremendous performance.
Thank you. Yeah, that was something special. I mean, I had a huge crash last week in St. Louis, and the team made a huge work, completely built a new car, and I'm really thanks for that. Even this weekend, we had a gearbox issue, and unfortunately we could solve it only after quali. But then never give up, and even my teammates always called me a Russian beast, and I think now everyone knows it.
I think they do. Artem Petrov is going to go on to the top step of the podium to present the trophy once again. And Mr. Dan Anderson from the Anderson Companies, the sponsor of this weekend's Indy Pro 2000 Championship race. Congratulations to Artem Petrov, a dominant performance, and he has earned every accolade he's going to get a result of this performance. These guys will be back again in action later on this afternoon, but for right now, our podium finishers in third position, Braden Eames, second position is Hunter McElroy, and our race winner this afternoon, Artem Petrov.
So capping things off here in Tatis Victory Lane, and a well-deserved trip to the top of the box for Artem Petrov. Champagne will fly down there. Artem Petrov with the win. Second, Hunter McElroy, and third, Braden Eves. Solid point total for Exclusive Autosport as well, as they try to increase their championship lead in the team championship standings. Let's have a look at the grid, though, now, because we're getting set to go with USF2000. The drivers are getting ready to go for their final race of the weekend. 23 in total will roll out here onto pit lane momentarily. It's going to be a very interesting run again for USF2000. Track starting to dry once again. We may have a very similar setup that we had for race number 2, where the drivers came out on wets and then were able to make that transition into dries. We saw some drivers make the effort to do that. The track is certainly drying a little bit. You know, we're still probably a couple of minutes away from getting rolling, maybe 10 minutes before we go green, because the cars have not yet got to the grid. But this could be another interesting approach on how things shake down in terms of tire approach and track approach. And we'll hear from the race control when we can, as we do know that our race directors are onto the racetrack to check it out once again. We will have a look, though, at the grid. 23 drivers getting set to go here. Nathan Bird in that number 20 for Legacy Autosport will start in the 23rd spot, the rookie driver in only his second Road to Indy weekend. And it's been getting quicker throughout this entire event. Row 11 will have Kent Vaccaro on the outside in the number 16 for Miller Vinatieri Motorsports, while on the inside it'll be Peter Vodanovic in the number 9 for Jay Howard Driver Development. Row 10 on the outside, Evan Stammer in the number 3 for Ignite Autosport with Cape Motorsports. Evan will start 20th. Alongside him, Trey Burke for Joe Dooling Autosport in the number 63. Moving now up to row number 9, Bejoy Garg in the number 6 for Jay Howard Driver Development. He'll start 18th, alongside Michael Myers in the number 42 out of Indiana. Myers in the 17th position. Moving now up to row number 8 on the outside from New Zealand. He's moved up in both of his races so far this weekend. Billy Fraser in the number 91 for Exclusive Autosport, the Cambridge Global Payments Machine, starting in the 16th spot. Alongside him, out of Quebec, Canada, Thomas Nepvu in the number 2, starting in 15th. Drivers finally rolling out here onto pit lane. Let's have a look at the field as we now go up into row number 7. Lucas Oil Formula Cars School of Racing program. The on the outside, starting 12th, Yuvan Sundaramurthy for Pabst Racing. Inside of that row, Christian Weir in the number 32 for Turn 3 Motorsport. In now to the top 10, Dylan Christie, another Turn 3 driver, the number 34, starting on the outside of that row number 5. Inside the 44 of Christian Brooks from Exclusive Autosport. Moving up to row number 4 now, it'll be Spike Kohlbecker on the podium at Road America earlier this year, the rookie in the number 5 for Ignite Autosport with Cape Motorsport, starting in the 8th spot. Inside of that row for D-Force Racing in the number 11, it's Prescott Campbell. Campbell starting in 7th, Kohlbecker in 8th. Moving now to row number 3 on the outside, the number 33 of Josh Green from Turn 3 Motorsports. He'll start, as I said, in the 6th spot. Inside, the top starting rookie for Pabst Racing, Jace Denmark out of Scottsdale, Arizona, in that number 22, starting in the 5th position. Row number 2, your championship leader, Kiko Porto, an opportunity to clinch the championship here today in this race. Otherwise, he'll have to go to Mid-Ohio to get it done. Porto out of Brazil for D-Force Racing in that number 12, race winner yesterday. Solid finish here today, a podium in race number 2. If he gets a podium again, very close to clinching this championship. Porto in the number 12, starting 4th. Inside of that row, good starting position for Josh Pearson out of Wilsonville, Oregon, in the Pabst Racing number 24. Pearson on the inside of row number 2, starting in 3rd. 23 drivers in the field, and you can see that they are ready to go down here on pit lane, off pole at Palo Alto, California. Podium in race number 2 earlier today. Nolan Siegel for D-Force Racing will start 2nd in the number 10 machine, and the driver on the pole position, the number 4 for Cape Motorsports, Michael D'Orlando. D'Orlando coming in here as one of the championship contenders, no doubt about it, but he's got to have a big day here today. Needs to capitalize on that pole position to see if he can't find himself up front. But a very similar day to what we saw earlier, folks. The tires are the treaded rain tires for the drivers here. The track most definitely drying, almost identical to what we already saw. Is that going to potentially play into the role of the hands again of Miles Rowe to come back forward? These guys have all had an opportunity to do a little more chassis setup to try to change what they did from earlier. So now we'll see how things are going to play out. Once again, getting close to firing things up here as we have 23 drivers on pit lane. Still about a minute away from the call to fire. So again, crews getting themselves set to go. Every one of them bringing some dry tires out as well. We may see more drivers elect to potentially move to dries. An opening lap incident with a yellow could bring some people down pit lane. This is going to be a very intriguing race to see what happens in terms of strategy. So 23 drivers set to go. D'Orlando and Siegel on row 1. Pierce Naporto row 2. Denmark and Green row 3. Campbell and Kohlbecker row 4. Brooks and Christie row 5. Weir and Sundaramurthy on row 6. Rowe and Navarro row 7. Nepfu and Fraser row 8. Myers and Garg row 9. Burke and Stammer on row number 10. Vodanovic and Vaccaro row 11. And it will be Nathan Bird on row number 12. Well, folks, time to get things underway here back at the Cooper Tire Broadcast Center. One of our guests from the Michael D'Orlando team here to join me and give us the call to fire. 23 drivers set to go. I'll take the opportunity to introduce Sadir Pai, who will give us the call to fire the engines.
Road to Indy drivers, start your engines.
And there it is. The engines will fire down on pit lane. Sadir, thank you so much for joining me here. And we are set to go racing. The drivers firing up their engines, and we'll get things underway. Sadir, thank you again so much. Don't forget your sunglasses. Great to have him up here. The D'Orlando family with a bunch of guests here this weekend. We say hello to all of those of you down trackside, ready to watch Michael take off from the pole position. Great run for him, and we are ready to get things underway. The final race of the weekend for the drivers in USF2000 from here. Just the finale at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course on the first weekend of October, and a potential for Kiko Porto to secure the championship here today. We'll see whether or not he's able to pull the trigger on that. It all depends on if he's able to finish in front of Michael D'Orlando by a specific number of points. Diane Swintel, our media coordinators here for the series, has got a points possibility spreadsheet laid out for me right now, so I'll make sure I have a look. Porto with a 51-point lead coming in. He needs essentially to have a 67-point lead because 66 points, the most you can gain on any one race. 30 for the race win, 1 bonus point for pole, 1 bonus point for leading the most laps, and 1 bonus point as well for the fastest lap of the race. So 33 points on offer any race. That means that when we go to Mid-Ohio for the doubleheader, there will be only 66 points up for grabs. If he has 67 points at the end of today, Kiko Porto will not be able to be challenged, overtaken in the championship, and he would be the first driver to score and confirm a championship here in 2021 on the road to Indy, presented by Cooper Tires. Once again, those of you joining us, my name is Rob Howden. I expect to potentially be joined by Parker Thompson as my driver analyst once he gets an opportunity to get up here into the booth. Otherwise, we're just going to go racing. Drivers are getting set to go here, warming those tires up a little bit. And I simply cannot believe that we're in essentially exactly the same situation we were in the race earlier today. We are on wet weather tires, and the track to me looks completely dry to a certain extent in a lot of these areas. They elected to go with the rain tires. That will really bring a question to if any of the drivers or anybody elects to come in and get tires. And I'm looking down there already. I think Turn 3 Motorsports going to do it again. They're already laid out. I like this call. You got to roll the dice. It's all about a quick stop to get the job done. We'll see who they decide to bring in to potentially shock them up with the dry tires. This track looks a lot drier than it was, I think, even the start of race number 2 earlier today. Drivers slowly circulating around. You know for sure that everybody's going to be radioing into their crew saying, this is what I think we've got tire-wise. The official call, though, from race control was to start on the wets. So everybody on those treaded rain tires. If you're up front, I don't know that it's a call you make, but I believe at least one of the drivers for Turn 3 is going to come in here and put fresh rubber on. We'll see who it ends up being, but could be an interesting day to see what that driver's able to do. Another lap around the racetrack. I believe we'll go green this next time by. Drivers navigating their way through turn number 11 and 12. That's the only thing about if the track is significantly damp, to send them out on slick tires you almost have to have a completely dry racetrack, because all it takes is that, into turn number one, somebody gets loose up front, and you end up collecting a lot of cars, and it's a lot of damage. At the very least, with the rain tires on, you know that everybody's going to have grip in that opening corner. You're not going to see guys sliding off the racetrack. There is quite a bit of, there is some standing water off to the side. Some of these guys are going to be able to get into, but again, this could open the door for someone to pull the trigger again, come in, get some tires on quickly, and get out there and step things up. The only thing that happened, we had that light mist throughout the entire, a little bit of a mist throughout the entire race. And so even those that went to the dry tires, while they were 3 or 4 seconds quicker, they weren't the 7, 8, 10 seconds faster than they would be in a full dry session. So if indeed this track goes dry, we don't have any kind of precipitation or moisture throughout the race, the guys that put on that rubber would very potentially get a chance to close up pretty quickly. Miles Rowe back in the race car. Not that much time to sit on it and celebrate his first victory in USF2000. That unbelievable drive. Looking to see whether or not the Force Indy crew thinking potentially about doing it as well. There's a couple of teams I think that are laid out and set to go. We may see it out of Jay Howard Driver Development too. Maybe even the Mike Myers team. Michael Myers Racing could potentially be going to it as well. Driver starting further back in the pack. If you're starting up front, you may not want to roll the dice. But we may see a number of drivers down here on pit lane for fresh rubber. Four drivers still essentially in the mathematical position to win the championship. Actually, I don't know that Christian Brooks is. 102 points back right now. Only 99 points still up for grabs. Make that 98 as Michael D'Orlando, of course, with the pole already. So I think that Christian Brooks mathematically out of the championship chase now. Still a chance to win some races, though. Pace car heading to the pit lane. D'Orlando will set the field loose when he rolls back out of turn number 12. It'll be his turn to get things fired up. He sets the pace. 23 USF2000 drivers ready to go here at New Jersey Motorsports Park for their final race of the triple header. Out of the final corner. D'Orlando ready to fire things up. Into that staging zone. Green, green, green. And a solid start for D'Orlando. Big one as well for Pearson. Josh Pearson going to try to tuck his way in there as well. They'll span out at least 5 wide. Christian Brooks looking to the inside there, all the way to the inside. Getting through turn number 1 thus far clean. Into turn number 2 right now. A little tougher coming through 2. Back down the hill to 3. Again, getting an opportunity to get a feel for this racetrack now. A couple of drivers sliding through to get a couple of spots there. Parker Thompson back in here to join me. We'll come to Parker here momentarily. We'll get this first lap in the books first. We'll see if any drivers do come down pit lane. Good possibility to see that. Christian Brooks getting super aggressive further back, trying to make a move to the inside of Eli Navarro coming up into turn number 4 as they work their way down here. Again, opening lap. Good start here for Michael D'Orlando. He needs a race win to keep himself in the championship contention. Kiko Porto with a great handle on it right now, 51 points up. But with D'Orlando potentially scoring a win, that would be big for the young driver out of Hartsdale, New York. Again, which drivers will peel off? Let's hold this shot here when they come back around, because this is what's going to show us which drivers end up coming off into pit lane. You can see how that track is starting to dry quite a bit through the racing line of turn number 11. 11A and 11B, leaders working their way through now. Will any drivers tuck off? Yes. Couple takers already. 1, 2, 3, make it 4, 5, 6, 7 drivers coming in for fresh rubber. Giddy up, Parker Thompson. This is about to get good.
Wow, it is good. Lots to focus on. Already the leaders up front are going for the water down the front straightaway, so you know they're finding it.
Jace Denmark, Yuvan Sundaramurthy. Sundaramurthy's in the championship fight. He's into pit lane here as well. Looks like one driver potentially missing his pit spot. He's going to have to potentially go all the way around. That was Peter Vodanovich.
Oh.
Peter Vodanovich missed the pit. No, it's Bejoy Garg. Garg missed his pit. Didn't come into the correct pit. Either that or Vodanovich maybe didn't go far enough through. But Garg's going to have to go back around. A number of drivers. Kent Vaccaro, Peter Vodanovic.
We've got leaders in turn 7, so it's the race to get the tires on.
I like that, and indeed, it looks to me, I think, the 34 as well, doing that as well. And, of course, the 34 is Dylan Christie. He's the one that did it before, so he's already felt it. Christie's already down and away. Let's see what the Pabst driver's getting them rolling as well. Yep.
Whoa, Juven beats him out.
Is that Denmark still in there? Or Denmark has rolled as well. But
Yep, Denmark rolled. Juven's leading him.
Yep.
Then you've got the 2 J. Howard cars, the turn 3 in the J. Howard car. And here come the leaders.
Here come the leaders, in fact. And I'll tell you, side-by-side action there for Christian Brooks. Slower stop for Vaccaro. He'll go down a lap. Christian Brooks scrapping it out big time there. And that was, I believe, with Prescott Campbell. So, indeed, D'Orlando still the leader, but what is going to happen? It's going to be all about what kind of lap times these guys that came in to get fresh rubber, what can they do? And, man, Parker, what do you think about the call of bringing in Juven Sooner and Murthy? Almost like, hey, you know what, I'm 82 points back. Let's roll the dice. I'm starting deeper in the field. I want to say he started back quite a ways in 12th position. Let's roll the dice and see if we can't win this thing.
I think it's a great call from Pabst. I mean, Juven's got the pace on dry. You know that he's not a midfielder. He should be at the front anyway. They had a tough qualifying. That is the only strategy for him to really get back in this ball game.
I agree. He needs as many points as he possibly can here and to work his way forward. So he does have those fresh Cooper tires on the stickers. This track drying up significantly now as we've seen a look around the entire facility.
And interesting to note, you've got Kiko Porto back in 5th. You've got Spike Kohlbecker right there, Cape Motorsports, his teammate in the championship battle leading this race. If I was Kiko, I'd be going, uh-oh, that white and red car behind me, that doesn't look good.
Drivers coming onto the front straightaway once again here. Again, there are the drivers that came out.
Well, we've got that battle for the lead there, Rob. D'Orlando obviously moving over twice down the front straightaway on Nolan. We'll see how that progresses.
Closing up a little bit as well on that is Dylan Christie, the number 34, as he was able to get back on track as well. It stayed out. Oh, here comes Christian Brooks. Brooks is into pit lane as well, right in front of us here. So Brooks comes in. The reins are going to come off for Christian Brooks. They'll get those tires back on. So the driver who is, again, as I said, already out of the championship contention, 102 points back with only 98 points, rather, still on offer. They've got the fronts done already for him. They're going to go to work now getting the rear quick jack up here for Christian Brooks. Dialing things in right now. The rear is up. Let's see what he's able to do again. Christian Brooks was having a really good battle, scrapping it out. Actually, I believe right in there with Prescott Campbell, but he has now fallen to the tail, and they'll get those tires on as quick as they possibly can for Christian Brooks. Quicker the better to get things dialed in, but you got to take your time in getting these tires changed. They're right in front of us now.
Yeah.
Leaders, I think, coming on. No, these are the other cars that came in already. They're struggling with the right rear. Not a good stop at all right now for Christian Brooks, and it's not working. They had not got that stop done quickly, and he is well back.
There's the leaders.
He's going to lose a lap.
But here we've got this battle we got to look into. Nolan Siegel looking around the outside. He's going to throw it in deep here. Oh!
Not quite able to do it, staying on the outside of Michael D'Orlando.
Still
up on the rumbles, 4 wheels off the track on the outside, and that is going to bring Josh Pearson back into the fight as well. Not a good stop for the Exclusive Autosport crew. They've got Billy Fraser in here as well. They'll go to work on trying to get him dialed in and back out onto the racetrack. And again, it's all about having the pace, and we're watching to see how fast they can be on those slick tires. We'll update you soon, but this is the gaggle we're watching right now. Parker, what a lead group. D'Orlando, Siegel, Pearson, Green, Porto, and I want to say Prescott Campbell in there as well.
Yeah, the top 6 essentially battling for the lead right now. Look at Siegel. Oh!
Thought about the inside going into turn number 6.
All over him.
Yeah, Nolan Siegel wants that first win. He has not yet won on the road to Indy. Wants to pull the trigger and get the job done. Siegel, all over your leader right now.
And what's going to be really interesting, Rob, if we get a caution, there is enough cars out there that have pace on slick tires. Leaders are going to be in trouble. Here we go. Here's the gaggle. Wow. Too wide coming through the last complex. Siegel got a good run here coming through the last corner. This is going to be it.
Watch him coming out onto the front straightaway here. Can Siegel get that run? Down to the bottom of the racetrack goes D'Orlando on those wet tires. Siegel's going to run around the outside. D'Orlando's trying to make it real hard. One of our drivers coming right out in front of him. That might be Billy Fraser. Side by side, Siegel's got the outside again. 4 wheels off. Can't quite hold it. Siegel throwing it into turn number 2 on the outside. Unbelievable car control for Nolan Siegel, but he's throwing everything at them right now.
Well, it's going to take one more time by. He's got the pace. He just needs another half a car going into turn 1, and he'll have that job done.
I totally agree with you. Gets that run around the outside, just not able to quite make it stick. If he can keep it on the racetrack and not slide off, I think he'll have the position. But you can be sure that D'Orlando's not giving him any room on the exit of that corner either.
No, and then back, we've got Josh Pearson that's now moved up to 3rd place ahead of Josh Green has passed Josh Pearson for 3rd place. This is a battle at the front.
Good stuff here again. Remember, the track's significantly dry, and we literally have these guys on the rain tires right now. We'll pick up some of the speeds of the guys. So they're turning 127s. Who else? Juven Sooner-Murthy, a 120.0. 7 seconds faster, and Sooner-Murthy is 56 seconds back. But there's still 14 laps to go.
Well, and it's so compacted right now, I can see that we might be getting a yellow. The racing's getting tough.
You think, do you?
Yeah,
right.
And I'm going, wow, Juven's in a pretty good spot on slick tires, 7 seconds quicker. Look at this again, Nolan Siegel to the outside down into turn 1. 3rd time's a charm.
He's trying to keep him pinched down.
Yellow flag, though, Rob. Yellow flag in turn 1.
You're saying potential
yellow flag.
Driver off in turn number 1, so they have not able to make that pass. They're trying to pick up which driver was involved in the incident there in turn 1. Not quite sure. We'll try to see if they can come back around. So an issue in turn 1, as Parker had said, the yellow flag was flying. Nolan Siegel had to back out of it. You can see that it's still the lead here for Michael D'Orlando. But that lead group all the way back to Prescott Campbell. D'Orlando, Siegel, Green, Pearson, Porto, and Campbell. Top 6 drivers all separated by about 2.5 seconds. Nathan Bird into pit lane as well. They're going to put the fresh tires on for him.
What a race we've got going on. We've got trouble. Oh, no, he's just finding water.
Yeah, that was Eli Navarro into the inside of the racetrack to try to cool those tires off. Really strong move for the kid just out of the Lucas Oil School of Racing.
Yeah, it is a strong move. Right? I don't know why the leaders aren't doing it.
Exactly. Getting in there, you have to cool these tires off any way you can. We can see how dry the track is getting. Anytime you can potentially get those tires cooled off, you're going to get them to last a bit longer. These guys up front are going to be sitting ducks. Juven Sooner-Murthy's coming. He's into 11th. This will be very interesting if Juven can find his way to the lead after that pit stop. Good call for Pabst Racing as well.
A little bit more breathing room here for Michael, but it's Nolan still there, still having to defend. Nolan looking to the inside this time, can't get the job done.
Yeah, hard pass. Almost like you said, we've talked about it all weekend. You got to get that run to make them block to the inside. Then you got to run the outside of the racetrack. Really hard to make that pass to the bottom unless you're right on their gearbox. But if you're on their gearbox, they're going to the inside of the racetrack for sure.
For Michael, every lap he can keep Nolan Siegel behind him. That's another lap in the books that Nolan's going to have to deal with a lot of tire deg on those front Cooper tires, the wet. You still get tire deg even with rain tires, even behind somebody. It's still affecting him a lot. So every lap he can put in the books is one lap closer to that checkered flag.
Evan Stammer into pit lane to put the stickers on their car. Michael Myers heading back out, as is Nathan Bird. If you're further back in the pack, you can roll the dice and come in. If you're in that lead group, this top 6, they just can't do it. They have to stay where they are and race. Otherwise, they're going to find yourself further back. Miles Rowe moving his way up as well. It looks to be Miles potentially with a couple of spots there. A number of drivers more into pit lane. So we'll give you an update again as we're just working lap number 8 right now.
Billy Fraser looks like the first driver to crack into the teens.
Yeah, 119, you're right, .985 for Billy Fraser, currently in the 16th spot.
But here we go. Nolan Siegel's got a good run this time by on Michael D'Orlando.
Let's watch it as they come onto the front straightaway. D'Orlando to the bottom of the racetrack. There goes Siegel, side by side, coming down the front straight.
Oh, they touch.
And he's going to try to come over. They do touch coming into the corner. And over there on the outside, Siegel holds onto the spot. This time, Nolan Siegel's through. Book it. New leader. Nolan Siegel for D-Force Racing. Look at him slide. Oh, D'Orlando goes 4 wheels off. He'll lose another spot. Green to the inside of turn number 3. So right into the entry of 3A, B, and C. Green able to take the spot as D'Orlando goes 4 wheels off on the outside. beautiful pass there by the Palo Alto, California driver Nolan Siegel, Parker, after touching going into the brake zone.
Yeah, that was hair-raising. I'm sure Nolan's going, oh, I didn't want to do that.
That's right.
But Michael came back over and squeezed him. They touched. I wonder if that had anything to do with Michael going off, maybe knocked the toe out. Car feels a little weird through turn 2, and he throws it off there.
Josh Green now up into the second spot. In fact, here comes an attack further back. I want to say these are some of the cars I think that have the fresher tires. I think was Kent Vaccaro.
Really?
I think it's got himself in there as well. Vaccaro trying to unlap himself. Vaccaro in the Miller Vinatieri Motorsport machine. He is on the slick tires, like so many of the drivers from the second half on back are. How about Yuven Sundar-Murthy? 10th position, turned to 120.3, 5 seconds faster than the leader last time by. He's only 37 seconds back with 10 to go.
Wow.
Heads up for Yuven Sundar-Murthy. Yeah, here's Vaccaro. He's going to go by as well. Look at Vaccaro's in the red machine, the number 16. Number of drivers going low to try to get some heat in the tires. Right in the middle of that fight there as well is Christian Brooks on the fresh rubber, but he went a lap down.
What a race, Rob. I can't remember seeing 2 USF races with this much action.
Well, you weren't here when we started. Literally, as I'm doing the intro, it was exactly the same track, if not even a little bit drier. You had to go with the reins. Good call, though, by race control, because you can't go down with a damp track into one and toss everybody off and have a ton of damage and cost these guys a lot of money. You know it's safer going with the wets, but the guys quickly coming in to put on the dries.
Wild. And we see the fastest times right now, 124.4 for Siegel.
Yeah,
and let's see what Fraser's got. Fraser and Yuven.
Yeah, 120 for Billy Fraser. He's currently into 15th. Yeah, 120 for Jace Denmark, for Christian Weir, for Yuven Sundar-Murthy. They're 10th, 11th, and 12th. Those guys are going to the top of the charts here, folks. This is going to be an interesting finish. Halfway, 10 down, 10 to go. Final USF2000 race of the weekend.
So, I mean, predictions here. Nolan Siegel looks pretty comfortable out front, but we got to start running the calculations.
Yeah, it's exactly that.
5 seconds a lap times 10.
Time to do some math.
All right.
Yeah, that's 50 seconds. Pretty easy.
Yeah.
And they'll be there very quickly. They're only 33 seconds back right now.
Wow.
Exactly.
So this is, I mean, it's game on right now.
Yeah, we're literally talking 7 laps to have Yuven Sundar-Murthy to the lead. Great call by that crew. Again, he's 33 seconds back all total, 21 seconds back at Trey Burke. Burke's still out there on the wets. But Sundar-Murthy, Weir, Denmark, Vodanovic, Christie, Vaccaro, all with a chance to get forward.
And I have to think the only reason they're running 120s now is in traffic.
Yes,
they're
exactly
dealing with a lot of traffic. Now, for those of you at home, obviously when you have to pass off the line, that's not the dry spot, right? So the other part, too, is it's tough, is the line that they're trying to pass on with slick tires is usually the wet one.
That's the key. That's the issue. Exactly that. You've got to almost wait every time to the front straightaway where you're dry on the entire racetrack. Sun actually starting to come out a bit here, too. That's going to dry this track even more, and it's going to make it tough for Nolan Siegel. Again, the drivers up front, when you're in that lead group, you just can't roll the dice and come in and make the change. You simply can't do it. You've already lost enough time. If you're going to go to the wets, you had to go early to give yourself a chance to close back up. And at this point here, we're seeing Kent Vaccaro finally unlap himself, so he's out front. But still, who else we got coming through there? We'll try to figure out as they come back around. There's a number of drivers working their way back through. Vaccaro being one of them, as we said. Yeah, Miles Rowe as well. Thomas Nepvu.
And then there's the
Christian
lead group
Brooks.
right there.
Yeah, here's the lead group coming. Nolan Siegel still leading the way of that number 10 machine. Green second, D'Orlando third, Pearson fourth, Porto fifth, and Prescott Campbell sixth. 3.2 seconds back for Spike Kohlbecker. Kohlbecker, I believe, on the wets as well still.
So the next group of cars that Yuven now just crossing start-finish is going to hit is going to be that lead pack of 10.
Isn't that crazy?
It is nuts.
It's nuts. He is 13 seconds behind the next group, and that will be Trey Burke, Eli Navarro, and Spike Kohlbecker. That's the next 3 for Yuven Sundar-Murthy, turning a 121.2, about 4 seconds faster than Nolan Siegel. But 4 seconds not the same as 5 or 6 every time, right? We only got 8 laps to go. That's 32 seconds worth of gap he'll bring up. He's 26 back, about 6 seconds to play with, maybe 1 or 2 laps. He'll have to be pushing hard and passing every time he possibly can.
Well, and it's going to be interesting to see how those rain tires hold up in this dry temperature, especially with that sun out.
Agreed completely. The sun coming out, really going to beat on him. The drivers coming across the line now are all those who have made the move to the dry tires. It's not going to be a second victory for Miles Rowe. He's back in 17th. Thomas Nepvu in 18th. Christian Brooks 19th. Bajoy Garg 20th. Nolan Siegel still out front to win that number 10. Sundar Murthy still 10th spot. 121.2. Actually, we'll see where Sundar, here, he just came across the line right now. Yeah, there's Sundar Murthy. Just across the line there now.
120.8.
Wow, again, over 4 seconds faster. No, over 3 seconds faster.
But Nolan is the pace of the field on those rain tires at a 124.1. Everybody else is
Agreed, yeah.
high 24s, low 25s. So I think he does have about a 4-second gap. He's definitely on for what would be a podium.
Well, you think about the fact, too, that he finished in the podium earlier today in that race that was going dry. So they could say, hey, what could we have done to make that car a little bit better for you, knowing that the situation could be very similar. So, indeed, they've done the job for sure for Siegel. Out by a 4-second lead now in the number 10. Siegel looking for his first Road to Indy victory.
Long time coming for Siegel. Many poles, many races led, many laps led.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, he deserves a shot at a race win and is getting the job done here right now. Yuvan Sundar Murthy, of course, watching the math on this one as he tries to close up. 23 seconds back last time by. Big lead for Siegel, as you can see him long gone already through turn number 1. Josh Green into that second spot. Navarro and Burke again all the way down the bottom of the racetrack, searching for some kind of moisture to help those tires out. And here comes Sundar Murthy. I can't wait to see what kind of lap times we get now for Sundar Murthy. Again, 23 seconds back of the leaders last time by, waiting for live timing to update. 20 seconds back. 6 to go, 20 seconds back, and he did a 20.6 to a 23.9. Wow, only 2.6 seconds faster this time.
Yeah, it's tough. You know, that just shows you the degradation of even the slick tires, right?
Make that 3.3. Pardon me,
Yep.
3.3. I went the other way. So 3.3 still. Is that enough with 6 to go? It really isn't. He's got to find some more pace.
It's going to be so tough. And, Rob, we've covered this all weekend. It's the story of this track. So tough to pass. And even when he catches him, I know he's on a different tire set, but 3 seconds isn't even enough to make easy work of everybody. It's still going to take a decent amount of time to pick his way through the field and up onto the podium.
He literally has to get a couple of guys on the straightaway every lap now once he gets there. I don't know that Yuvan's going to be able to get all the way. I like the fact that Pabst rolled the dice a little bit. Kiko Porto now running, where is Kiko Porto on track? 5th. Michael D'Orlando 3rd. So it won't be a clinch as they run on the racetrack right now. Let me have a quick look here at the 3rd and 5th. Yeah, it looks like it'll be 46 points heading to Mid-Ohio. Nice little advantage, but still enough. If he has some troubles, D'Orlando still with a shot at it. Michael D'Orlando holding on to that P3 position right now, which would keep him in championship contention heading to the finale in the first weekend of October.
You know, if you're Michael, though, you've got to be disappointed starting on pole twice and not being able to capitalize. I think he had a real shot to put some pressure back on Kiko. And Kiko back in 5th, this would have been the race to do it.
And had we had a straight dry race, you figure starting from pole, good opportunity for him to stretch away. But again, with the weird conditions we had in both the races today, track fully dry right now. These guys just holding on. You see Navarro again down to the bottom there trying to see if he can't get a little bit of moisture onto those tires, cool them off a little bit. Siegel leading by 4.6 seconds. Handful of laps remaining. Sundar Murthy getting ready to close up now. Miles Rowe and Christian Brooks getting by Kent Vaccaro. That's later on. Those are the drivers that didn't have great stops and eventually coming to the tail of the field. They did go a lap down, were able to unlap themselves, but quite a ways back. Siegel across the line. Big, massive lead now over Josh Green, who's looked really good all weekend. D'Orlando's got the room right now over Josh Pearson. Kiko Porto 5th. Prescott Campbell 6th. Let's look at this next group, though. Here comes Yuvan.
Yeah,
he's already got a couple of guys. Yeah, he's already got Burke.
They're 3 wide.
Yuvan's got to send it in turn number 1. He knows it. Trying to go around the outside of the bow. He's going to get at least, I think it might have got Kohlbecker there too, potentially.
Yeah.
So Juven Sundermurthy taking full advantage of those dry tires, and he gets another pass down. That was Kohlbecker to get by on the inside. That was a big pass there to get through those guys in one lap.
That is up to 7th, Rob.
Yeah.
There's so you're telling me there's a chance.
That's exactly right. Good call from my man Pepper Brooks over here. Nolan Siegel leading the way, but is it enough? And to be honest, listen, we're talking about Sundermurthy being, 17 seconds back. That's of the leader. He's only 6 seconds behind Green and D'Orlando. That's the other thing to look at. A potential podium for sure.
Well, and on top of that, Siegel's got about a half a second to a second a lap faster than anybody.
Yep.
So the delta is in Juven's favor here to pop on the podium, and what a story that would be.
Last lap, 120.6. Last lap for D'Orlando, 125.3. Almost 5 seconds faster, and he's not even that far back right now. So a good opportunity for Sundermurthy to put this Pabst racing machine on the box. He's closing right now. Actually, he's already up to Prescott Campbell. Big run in the straightaway. You can check them here, folks. There it is. Sundermurthy as he turned into turn 1, almost up there on Prescott Campbell into turn number 2, and he's on the gearbox already, thinking about the inside of turn number 3. Here goes Sundermurthy to the inside, side by side. Does he come out the other side? They were side by side going to 3B, just waiting for the top of the hill, and he's through. Sundermurthy. There he is right there. Yep, he is through.
Well, and we'll note, too, as he gets up there, he's got Josh Pearson in 4th, which I'm sure another Pabst racing car is going to help him out.
Yeah.
They're probably going to want to get on the box together.
Have you ever had a chance to be in a situation like this where everybody else is on the reins and you've got the right call, even in karting?
No.
Yeah?
Well, maybe a long time ago, but
good fight there further back. Couple guys going head-to-head. That's right in front of Sundermurthy, I think,
it is right in front of him.
We'll see as they come back around. That was a side-by-side battle. I don't know who that was. Would have been in front of that. Might have been a couple of the slower cars. We'll pick them up as they come back through here. Leader across the line, Siegel. Green. Big gap back then to Michael D'Orlando as he's onto the front straightaway, but Sundermurthy is rolling. He is already up close to the number 12 of Kiko Porto. And listen, championship-wise, if Sundermurthy gets ahead of Porto but can't catch D'Orlando, that's good for him as well, for D'Orlando.
Very good for D'Orlando.
A little extra point action happening.
Juven's already through Prescott Campbell, I believe. Or is it Kiko Porto? He's through Kiko.
Yeah, he's got by Kiko Porto already. He is flying. But there's only 2 laps to go. So this could be an opportunity. He may not get to the podium. We'll see.
I think he's got pace. He's going to the inside of his teammate. Pearson lets him by there.
Yep. So Sundermurthy already into 4th spot. Now trying to find the podium position from D'Orlando. And I don't know that he's going to be able to hold him back. I just think that these guys are so far off, and Juven is just flying here right now. Juven Sundermurthy, the team bringing him in on the first lap, second lap, I believe, putting on fresh sticker Coopers, allowing him to get out there and get at it.
You know, and kudos to Pap Racing. That's a call that can go so wrong as we've seen it go for just about every other team.
Trying to see if they can't keep Juven in the championship chase. I don't know that he'll be able to do that right now. If he ends up getting to 3rd, that would be 295 points. And right now, Porto in the 6th spot. That would be 75 points, and that means he would be out of contention. He gets only 66 points up for grabs. So
look at this. He's already there on D'Orlando. He goes to the outside. This is going to be a pretty easy drive around the outside, I believe.
It is.
D'Orlando squeezes him down to the grass, though.
D'Orlando not wanting to give it up in turn 1, but just can't quite get it done. Further back, those guys still scrapping out. Other drivers starting to come through. Christian Weir, again, one of the other drivers that put the tires on. Jace Denmark. Denmark's to 7th. Weir now 8th. Campbell down to 9th. Kohlbecker 10th. The drivers who did put on the tires able to get themselves forward. Sundermurthy up into the 3rd spot. There's just no way he's still there. They're 12 seconds behind. Final lap on the racetrack, folks, for Nolan Siegel. We saw a huge first win for Miles Rowe in race number 2. Race number 3, the kid that's been here, his 3rd year in the series, trying to get that first victory. Will it be the day for Nolan Siegel as he works his way out of the final couple of corners here? Looking for Siegel to come through turn number 10. Here he is. Nolan Siegel for D-Force Racing. They got a win earlier in the weekend with Kiko Porto. But coming out of the final corner right now, checker flag in the hands of our starter, Aaron Likens, and for the first time in his career, the winner, Nolan Siegel, getting the win here at New Jersey Motorsports Park. Josh Green coming home for second spot. Third goes to Yuvan Sundaramurthy. Battle there for fourth position.
Wow.
A lot of scrapping coming across the line here. Sundaramurthy third, D'Orlando fourth, Josh Pearson fifth, Kiko Porto sixth. No, Porto's falling down the order. I think Kiko lost a couple more spots as Christian Weir sixth, Jace Denmark seventh.
Wow.
Porto down to eighth. So fourth and eighth. What's that do for the points? 323 to 368. Yeah, make it 45 points now.
That's something.
That is something. There's an opportunity still. As you said, there's a chance.
There's a chance. There's a crack of light.
That's it. Nolan Siegel, though, what a tremendous drive for Nolan, turning the really good lap times, even with those rains, better than anybody else on the rain tires.
Well, and Rob, let's talk about the fact that, this has been such a long time coming. It was very cool to see Miles Rowe get that breakthrough win, but Nolan has deserved a win now for, it's interesting. I believe he got his first pole here last year in the wet.
That's right.
If I'm not mistaken.
Well, did he not come in and put the tires on?
He did, halfway through the race.
That's what I thought.
Put the tires on, started on pole, led most of the race, and then made a couple mistakes and didn't end up taking that win. So really cool to see him get a well-deserved win. I've talked to him many a times, and he's going, man, it's just I need a few things to click for me.
Yeah. I'm going to head down to Titus Victory Lane, and we'll get a chance to talk to the race winner.
Sounds great, Rob. See you soon, and congratulations to Nolan Siegel.
USF made his debut in Indy Pro 2000, the Worldwide Technology Raceway. A big win for Nolan Siegel. Always great to see a young driver get that first victory after years of trying, digging in. What a run for Yuvan Sundaramurthy as well. That was a ton of fun to watch. Past racing making a great call there. And not just a call, you have to have a flawless pit stop and be able to leverage what they did. And they were able to get Yuvan out there quickly. And he actually was on a tear over those final laps. Of course, the guys with the reins that were pretty much long gone. And Yuvan's car coming in, he put on a show for sure, able to make a great pass as well on Michael D'Orlando to go to third spot. Kiko Porto falling down a couple of positions late in the run as well. As a great great run for Christian Weir, turn 3 Motorsport, making a change to the tires as well. James Denmark getting by him as well. So both those drivers slipping by Kiko Porto on the final lap. So that drops Porto down to 8th. And of course, D'Orlando in 4th. I believe 45 points unofficially, the gap between 1st and 2nd now as we head to Mid-Ohio. 66 points on offer in the finale, the doubleheader weekend. So the championship still most definitely up for grabs here in the Cooper Tires USF2000 Championship. Still one more race to go in the program as Indy Pro 2000 still to go, but we'll bring our drivers over here to get things underway for the podium presentation. getting our drivers over here. We'll get things underway from victory lane. So folks, let's get things underway down here in victory lane. We'll have Mr. Dane Anderson help us out here with the trophy presentations for our drivers. Let's get things rolling because our drivers are ready to go. Finishing in third spot today, folks, put on fresh tires, lap number 1, stormed his way back to the field. What a great call for Pabst Racing. A great run for Human Sooner Worthy. Finishing in third. Leveraging those tires, storming through it. A great pass at the very end of the race to get up onto the podium here. Great run for him. Excellent job for Human coming home P3. Driver coming home in second fast all weekend long, folks. Finishing in second spot for Turn 3 Motorsport, Josh Green. Great run for Josh, able to get out of that early battle. 6 drivers scrapping it out up front. Able to get him his way through there, and they obviously had a good setup on those the rain tires here. Very tough, of course, track going dry very quickly. For the guy on top of the box right now, these tires look pretty chewed by the end, but he did a great job. Folks, I love doing this when it's the first win. Everybody, a big round of applause. First ever win for Nolan Siegel! Dan Anderson giving him that well-deserved first place trophy. And we saw Nolan in the Indy Pro 2000 race at Worldwide Technology Raceway last weekend. Good to have him back here, capping off his career here with one more race in Mid-Ohio. Nolan, come on down here and have a quick chat with me first. Long time coming. Let me tell you how it feels. I want you to really go and say, hey, this was big for me. How did you feel the last couple laps? Overall, how did it feel?
I mean, I've been waiting for, 3 years for this, and this entire season I've had some bad luck, and I mean, the team's worked so hard, and I feel like we've done so much work, so much practice, and it's just great to be rewarded.
And a hard race to win as well. It's not like you went out on a dry track. You really talk about the conditions, because that left front tire was gone.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit damp at the beginning, and once I was kind of done racing Michael and got out into the lead, it started to dry up, and at that point it was just tire management. So, yeah, I was just trying not to slide the car, and it ended up working. So.
Any thoughts over the last couple laps, knowing that win was coming?
I mean, I got the countdown on the radio every lap, and it was just like, don't throw it off the track, basically.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
There it is, folks. Nolan Siegel, first win. Love that first victory. Love the emotions. And a tough race for sure as well. This is one he's going to remember. To be able to win in these kind of conditions with the tires the way they were, and the track going away. Siegel. 3 different winners in USF2000 here this weekend. First wins, of course, for Miles Rowe and Nolan Siegel, and a great victory for Kiko Porto. And get that champagne in here. Nolan's like, listen, yeah, this is the last race. You can wash these suits before we get to Mid-Ohio. Again, love seeing these first-time winners. Guys, go at it, boys. Champagne time. Sooner Murthy's going at it. They're going after Siegel. Champagne flying for the drivers here at the Cooper Tires USF2000 Championship. There it is. Nolan Siegel, folks, one more time. Round of applause for my race winner, Josh Green. Great run to second. And Human Sooner Worthy making things super exciting coming from deep in the field on slick tires. Congratulations to all 3 drivers. Very well-deserved runs here into the Tatis victory lane. And what a weekend it has been for the drivers in USF2000. A championship coming down now to, I believe, just 2 drivers. It's going to be Kiko Porto versus Michael D'Orlando when we get to Mid-Ohio in the first weekend of October. And again, good though to see a guy like Nolan Siegel able to get that victory and get that, cross that off, get that monkey off his back, capping off his USF2000 career. Again, big run for the American Nolan Siegel as he wins here today. One more race still to come after the Radical Cup as we have Indy Pro 2000, the final race of their triple header here at New Jersey Motorsports Park to cap things off and to cap off the day.
Here is a bit of wisdom from your Uncle Cooper. Tires exist on a spectrum, On one end, you got too much tire. On the other, you don't get enough. Both ends are rip-offs. You're either paying for more than you need or needing more even after you pay. So if you want a tire that costs what tires should cost and does what tires should do, go right for the sweet spot. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
At TopCon, we know a thing or two about a smooth surface. Roads and highways, piece of cake. Airports, let's just say it'll be the smoothest landing you've ever had. But what about when you want to go fast? Real fast? No, faster. We've helped cars go faster than they've ever gone before. Broken a few lap records along the way. Want the best paving performance? Go to the source. TopCon, always one step ahead.
Welcome back to the post show here on Road to Indy TV Live. I'm your host, Parker Thompson, and I'm here with Race 2 Indy Pro 2000 winner, Artem Petrov. For those of you at home, this is one of my favorite interviews. We always get some great content out of this guy, so congratulations. Dominant win.
Thank you, Parker.
I'm pretty sure that is the largest lead I've seen all season long.
Oh, yeah, I think I just beat my record.
I think you beat a lot of people's records. The end was like, what, 17, 18 seconds?
15.6.
15.6, and pretty cool, too. You had a nice little battle for fastest lap at the end of the race. I mean, I'm not even going to talk about you winning because it was just such a domination. So let's talk about other stuff during the race. Were you competing for fastest lap? Was the team telling you about that one point?
No, not really. I was just trying to find an optimal line. In some corners it was still wet, so I was going on a wet line. On some corners it was completely dry line. So the goal was just make a good start.
Yeah.
That's what I did. And to fight for the first place, obviously.
Yeah, well, it wasn't much of a fight. It was he went out there and thrashed everybody. Now, the start, obviously Hunter got a good jump. You were starting second, off pole. What was the game plan there? You knew there was probably a lot of grip on the outside. You just rolled as much speed as you could?
Not really. There was no grip on the outside, but I just broke so much later. Like, I could see his car braking, and that was the point where I needed to brake to overtake him. And yeah, then just to make more gap between him and me. And I did a good job, I think.
Yeah, I think you did a pretty good job. Now, Artem, take me through Michael Duncalf and your team there at Exclusive Autosport. Did they tell you, hey, Artem, you're like 10 seconds ahead, nurse the car home?
Yeah, my engineer told me only one time what the gap was at this moment, about 7 seconds. And then I just asked him to tell me if the Hunter will be closer to me. So, and that's it. But, yeah.
Easy.
Uh-huh.
Very easy. And then towards the end of the race, is it like, I mean, did you want to keep going faster? Were you worried about the wind? What did you think about out there?
Yeah.
And here, I'm going to help you out just a little. You drive car.
Yeah,
there you go.
I wanted to find some better lines, but actually I don't know what happened because it was getting drier, but the car was more slippery than at the beginning. I don't really know what happened.
Okay, car was more slippery than the beginning. Well, obviously those Cooper tires, as they get heated up, they get greasy, right?
Probably.
You have to cool them off, but when you can't cool them off because there's no water out there, it's really tough. Now, Artem, I have to commend you coming off of a huge accident at Gateway Motorsports Park. Coming into this, your mindset, I mean, how did that change? We talked off air. You're still a little sore from the crash. I mean, when a driver goes through a crash like that, usually there's some time where he has to, get back into the groove and the rhythm, but you come back and win almost the next weekend.
Yeah. The team made a huge work because they rebuilt it. They built a completely new car in just 2 days, thanks for them. I mean, that's amazing. So, and as soon as I started to go into the training sessions, I felt like this car is feeling completely different.
Really?
To my car. Yeah. And yeah, I was just trying to understand how to drive the new car.
Okay.
It was completely different. But we also had some issues during the whole day on Friday, and we only solved it in first qualifying. So it was some gearbox issue we were using some part from USF car, and the shift down didn't really work well. Yeah. So
Wow.
unfortunately, we solved it only after first qualifying, but we solved it.
You solved it. You came back. Huge comeback, Artem Petrov. Always a pleasure. Congratulations. You're one of the most exciting guys to watch off the track and on the track. Go out there in race 3 and try and do the same.
Yeah.
Awesome. Don't go away anywhere, fans. We get the winner of USF2000 Race 3 coming back in the booth with us, Nolan Siegel.
Karting and motorsport enthusiasts, Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the Road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
As your uncle, I want you to know that on the road to life, there will be rough spots, and they will chew up your tires. I recently took a road trip to Greensville to attend a chili cook-off. Rough roads all the way down. I drove there on these Cooper Discoverer and Duramax tires. You know, they're made with the durability of off-road tires, but for on-road driving. Without them, we might never know the winning bean-to-meat ratio of a good chili. And those are the things in life, my friend, worth driving towards. So go with the Coopers. Cooper! I'm hungry now.
After a quick pit stop, we're right back here on Road to Indy TV Live with Race 3 USF2000 winner Nolan Siegel. Your first win on the road to Indy. How does that feel? Take me through the emotion. You've got champagne and sweat. You're right off the podium.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, the team's worked so hard, and I mean, I've been in this series this is my 3rd season now, and it's my first win, so it's been a long time waiting, but it's worth it.
Well, and it's not like this is a surprise win for me, and I don't think a lot of people on the road to Indy. You've had the pace, you have the racecraft, you've had everything. It's just those little things that have kept you away from victory. So I saw the fist pump across the line. I saw the entire D-Force team out on the pit wall. Take me through the emotion of that last lap.
Yeah, I mean, we've had so much bad luck this season, and we've all just been waiting for it, and there have been a few races where we thought we had it and then something happened, so just to finally get that win it's incredible, and I think the whole team is just as excited as I am. They're so into it, and it's just great to bring home a trophy for those guys.
No, it is awesome to see you get that win. Now, the pass for the lead was about a 3-stage. It was 3rd time's the charm, as I said over the broadcast, because it took 3 attempts. Obviously, both prior attempts that didn't work, you went off the track and came back on the track. So take me through the aggression. Take me through that pass.
Yeah, I mean, Michael was defending for his life there. And
yeah.
I mean, for good reason, I guess. But, yeah, every time we had a little bit of contact, he'd push me off a little bit. I mean, it's fair racing, Rubbin's racing, right? But
I tell you what, on the 3rd and final one, you guys touched going into turn 1.
We did.
And that is flirting with both of you going off.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to win. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, and it wasn't you. I mean, you were up against the grass. It was him
Yeah.
coming back
Yeah.
over, right? Every lap you would tow him down to the inside of the pit wall. He made that one move. Theoretically, he shouldn't be allowed to squeeze you too hard. But Michael racing for a championship this weekend, as you know. Did that go into it, how aggressive you were going to be with him?
Honestly, no. I mean, obviously he's fighting my teammate Kiko for the championship. But I'm not going to race him any harder because of that. I'm obviously not going to do anything to jeopardize his championship. But, you know, I really had nothing to lose, and he did. So I'm sure that kind of was in his mind, and I wasn't going to give it up. So
That is awesome. Nolan, is this the monkey off your back? Do you feel a little taller?
You know, it feels good. I'll say, like, going into next weekend, it's going to be a different feeling, and I think there are more coming.
Rob Howden always says it, and I can see it in drivers. It was for the key for myself, and I think it's a key for any driver. You get that first win, and it really, you're no different before or after the win, but just knowing you can go out and do it, and the way you did it in dominant fashion. I mean, you probably couldn't see second place in your mirrors. So, rest of the season, you've only got one more race, but how does this carry into the off season and into next year?
I mean, it's just going to be a big confidence booster. I think going into next weekend, especially racing all the same people, just knowing that I can do it and knowing that I've beat them before, I think it'll be easier to go and do it again now that I've kind of gotten that first one out of the way.
That's awesome, Nolan. And I mean, you've led a lot of laps before. You just hadn't closed it out.
Yeah.
So to get that closure, I'm sure feels very good. Anybody you want to thank on this special day?
I mean, the whole D-Force Racing team, Santa Cruz Bicycles, Aero Paint Technologies, and of course my family for supporting me through this whole Road to Indy journey.
While he's not only great on the track, he's great off it. Very well spoken, Nolan. This has been a long time coming. Congratulations. Road to Indy fans, don't go away anywhere. 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We've got Indy Pro 2000 Race 3 coming up. They're racing for a championship. And the weather, we don't know. Probably looking like dry, but it's going to be interesting. Tune in 4:30 p.m. Eastern.